The purple lights
approaching a railroad crossing
represent basically the robe that Jesus Christ wore. That's why TCU is purple. That's what I've heard. So, or purple robe, or sash. It was a purple sash for royalty. A lot of the so-called Christians that don't really even read the Bible every day will say, grow up, grow up. And actually, they need to do the opposite. They need to become children unto the Lord. They need to become children unto the Lord, because they cannot enter heaven as their so-called adult state, where they purify themselves in legality and the legal tender. They purify themselves in law and not in Christ. Boy, when someone goes, they say, well, that's a good thing. That was for the sake of, you know, the legalism journey, rather than the law. Rather than Jesus Christ. You have to be in Christ, not in law. You'll go to hell if you're in law. You have to go to in Christ. You have to be in Christ. You have to be in Christ and know Christ. And that's who you are, not relying on the good things. You try to purify yourself. You're trying to purify yourself, you know, with these ideals, these legalism and legal tender and money, and purifying yourself, thinking that you're the next pope or something and you're just really good. Those are the type of people that have good intentions, and they go all the way to hell. If you'll know Christ, then he'll guide you and he'll protect you. You have to know Christ. You have to know him just like a friend. And you can look it up in the New Testament. Read Luke. Luke explains it. All the way from Missouri. Now we go to Slice City Pizza, get ourselves a little slice, and head off. Gotta pay the deuce. The deuce. As an Illinois deuce. Marlon Brando pizza. Yeah, basically Slice City Pizza. I'm gonna make you a pizza you can't refuse. You can see it right here. And they make the pizza right here. I'm getting a Supreme. It's New York City. It's got the Maxwell and everything. Times Square. And that's the guy that runs it. We love pizza New York style. And there's Mother Teresa for Scorsese fans. And that's, you see Conan right there. I don't know what this is, the Heights. Right here, the pizza guy. David Spade, that's a weird one. Muhammad Ali. He who is not courageous enough to take a risk will not accomplish nothing in life. Like that, accomplish nothing in life. I mean, that, you know, it's showing the reality. There's Robert Redford. Cole and Linda. It's pretty cool. It's a cool little joint right across the street from the school. Slice City Pizza is the name of it, and I recommend it highly. It's New York style pizza. It may be a little too hot to eat right now, but that's the Supreme. It's probably better than the Stranger Things. Look how it lays. See? New York style. That's how you know it's New York style. Mm-hmm. A little bit of mozzarella on it. That's all it needs. Pretty close. That's pretty close. Really good. Guy's a genius. Mm-hmm. That. Really good pizza. That's New York style. I lived there about a year. Well, it was 9 months, but close enough. Plus, I lived there a couple times in high school, but I stayed there. I lived there. I had my own place, my own room. Out there on Park Avenue and Broadway. Gramercy Park. That's where Winona Ryder hung out at the time. We are in the TCU area. This could be a TCU student. I gotta find out. I don't know. So it's a light Mexican queso, quesadillas, things like that. Yeah, it's gonna drop off at the dorms. Done these a few times. I auditioned for a vampire movie there at TCU back in the day. It was like a student film vampire movie. I don't even know if it took off really. It was in one of those for my ex-girlfriend. A couple of them lived there for a while, so they left or were killed off, one of the two, sadly enough. I think it's right here. TCU Vampires. That'd make a good movie. There you go. Appreciate it. No, it's fine. Thank you. You have a good one. Yeah, I believe it was 92. It was when Morrissey came to town with Kill Uncle. The Kill Uncle tour is what they called it. And my friend Eric and Eric was in a horrible car accident and lost his friend Steven. And he survived it. But Eric and I called a radio station over and over again. We were trying to get backstage passes to the concert. We had to request a Morrissey song. Oh, they're playing today. Anyway, we had to request a Morrissey song. And then we would be a possibility of getting backstage passes. So anyway, we got the tickets anyway. I got the tickets, but I went, I'm trying to think who I went with to the Morrissey concert. I know Channing Freelove was there. She was in the back on the front. Well, not the front row, but she was in the, Starplex had this front section and then the grass section. So she was on the seated section, and I was pretty much almost front row. It's hard to get those tickets. And he had arrived, and I think by the time Suede Head was on, which is a song about James Dean, some people had thrown me up over this, the center walk, the guard walk, and I landed, Bruce Springsteen's Courtney Love style, and I landed right there on the stage, do it yourself, landing, and ran up there, gave him a hug, and a few other guys that were up there had gave him a hug, and then of course security told us not to do it again. We went back to our little area, and then everyone got up there. These women got up there and started like cowboy riding him and all this stuff while he was trying to sing, and it got out of hand, and he ended up getting a little bit injured, and there's so many people on stage that had to stop the concert. They were still playing though. They still were playing the music, and the backup singer was still singing the songs, but Morrissey, he threw in the towel, towards the end of that. But it was called Dallas Live. It's a VHS recording. I have the copy, of course. I've shown it a few times, and it's on YouTube several times. And I did a vlog about hugging Morrissey and everything. He's still around. He's got residency in Vegas. Big company, I don't remember the name of the of the record company, but they dropped him because of Teenage Bonfire of the Teenagers or whatever. The Bonfire song, Bonfire of Teenagers. Well, they dropped his label and he had to go with an independent label, and he's still singing, and he's in Vegas. And Jonah Hill's a big fan of Stephen Patrick Morrissey, and you know, he's still doing. He's still singing Smith songs too in concert. He sings the Smith songs. You know, the take me out tonight, take me anywhere, don't care, don't care, don't care. Driving in your car, oh please don't drop me home. I haven't got one anymore. I remember on the Kill Uncle tour, I went with Tim Largent, Stephanie Black, and his friend Nate, who was a big Smashing Pumpkins fan. That night after the Morrissey concert, Nate played Smashing Pumpkins on his boombox in my back seat, and Kate was with us too. Kate Thistlethwaite. We were all in my mom's car. We did go to the second tour too. The year later, he toured again, but he didn't go to the Starplex. He went to the old Irving, what they call the Texas Bowl. It was the old Cowboy Stadium that they tore down. And I went with Travis McKnight and Jennifer. And I think it was just the three of us when we went. The name of that tour is puzzling me. I will have to look that up. But the Kill Uncle one was the one that I always remember every part of it. It was intense, sweaty. So many people there, crowded, so many fans, so many dedicated fans, throwing themselves on stage, going crazy, screaming the Morrissey chant, and just completely obsessed with Morrissey, who, you know, is this Irish, I guess maybe he's Catholic, I don't know if he likes the Catholic Church. I do have his bio. I do have Morrissey's bio. It's very complex and brilliant. It's not James Joyce. It's not James Joyce. But it is complex. You do have to look up things. You have to look up words. You do have to look up pop culture about England to get the jokes, you know, to get the humor. Talks about his sister. It's a sin that I have not studied it as much as the Brando book. And of course, I need to get a bio on James Dean. I'm a James Dean fan. It's amazing. I read a lot online. I get a lot of that's kind of structure, that kind of stuff online. You know, you can't get it all like from simply just one book. You know, you can certainly try. James Dean's thing, Morrissey just absolutely adores. He was in Fairmont. Morrissey went to Fairmont, and Jordan the Lion and Dearly Departed, they really have a lot of great information on James Dean that Morrissey can access. If Stephen Patrick Morrissey watches my show, I'm sure he's heard about it, and we honor all this music. And if he finds out about James Dean, you know, I know he's found out about James Dean, but I'm talking about Jordan the Lion and Dearly Departed. They can certainly educate him. It'd be great to see them all three go out on a vlog. Now, Jordan will go out on a vlog with Dearly Departed, and they visit the farm, and they talk with the relatives that know all about Cal and James Dean. They know his story about the photographer that went out there, made the talented photography. And Suedehead was about James Dean. You know, I'm so sorry, I'm sickened now. It was a good. That's all about James Dean and James Dean's, you know, life. You know, what he had, the 3 movies and the fame and the attention and everything. The thing that Morrissey idolized and cared about. Anyway, there's more information than just the books. The books, a lot of times, those authors have to do filler. They fill in information. They do research. There are some good ones. There's, you know, on Brando, of course, Brando was competitive with James Dean. The one I like is the Peter Manso, I think. That one's a big one. It's a huge book. And then, of course, Brando's own book, which I bought and sold. That one is Songs My Mother Never Taught Me. That one's actually really good. Unfortunately, James Dean didn't live long enough to be able to write his own bio, but there are a lot of bios about him. But going back to Morrissey, it was exciting to see. And it was exciting because I was also a James Dean fan at the time. I had a poster of Morrissey on the wall and James Dean. And I was getting into basically theater, or was trying to get into theater as much as I could at the time, until I finally got accepted into Texas Wesleyan, where there was an actor, Chase Pruitt, who did a show called Come Back to the Five and Dime, Jimmy Dean, and that was one of the reasons I decided, like, there's no way I'm turning away from acting ever. His performance was amazing, and I watched it and was blown away. Julie was in it. You all know who Julie is. And they did it. It was an older lady that was in it. It was beautiful production, great little theater. Texas Wesleyan was so dedicated in the theater. They brought in all these different intense acting teachers, including Ken Stilson, who mostly taught through the system, but he had his, he also learned through Udo Hagen. And anyway, when I saw Come Back in the Five and Dime, Jimmy Dean, I realized the power of theater, how theater can enter into you, while film, television media, it just washes over you. But the theater is so important. It can seep into, So anyway, I later would see Chase Pruitt at the Actors Studio when I finally would get there. Lo and behold, and I idolized him as an actor. I looked up to him. I was like, wow, this guy is really in tune. Well, when he would step out on stage, his presence was beyond unreal. Now, he wasn't like a Guys and Dolls kind of singer actor. Wasn't that at all. I saw him, the thing I saw him that blew me away eventually, Come Back to the Five and Dime, Jimmy Dean. Jimmy Dean was the first time I ever saw a man cry on stage, which was Chase. He must have done it every night. Don't know how. Just amazing performance. He made it into the Actors Studio. I ended up getting there too and seeing him. Whenever I was told to leave after the first year, he walked by, touched my shoulder. He was on the phone. I saw him on the streets of Broadway. He must have heard what happened. So I kind of lost it a little bit with the washing machine. Anyway, regardless, when I saw him and come back to the Five and Dime, Jimmy Dean, I was like, wow, this is amazing that you can have a performance like this. A person can be this real, and then it's just, brilliant. And I remember I went home that night, and I hadn't entered into Texas Wesleyan yet. I was getting ready to, and I got these glasses that were like James Dean, and I put these glasses on and like looked at myself in the mirror, and was like pretending like I was James Dean. And then that was a powerful play. It was amazing, because they were doing Broadway style theater at Texas Wesleyan. At least that night they were. Later I would, I'd still do theater and all this crazy stuff, and I would see Chase in another performance called Wait Until Dark. And I mean, I gotta be honest, I gotta lay it down. I've seen some great actors. Jeffrey Donovan. I saw Jeffrey Donovan in Glorious Living. And The Glory of Living. And Anna Paquin's incredible. But he was not as good as Chase. not in Wait Until Dark. When I saw Chase come out on stage and Wait Until Dark, I was like blown away. Just the presence. He's playing like a psycho that comes out on stage. And they're looking for this doll that has like heroin in it, and it's like the lady's blind. It's a great play. I want to say like Audrey Hepburn or someone like that did it. I don't know I think it was Audrey Hepburn. She's the one that won like 4 Oscars or something. She did the play, and I think, or at least the movie, but it was based on that kind of experience. And Stephanie, who was a fan of Chase too, Stephanie Stafford. I think we may have went together to see it. Pretty sure we did. Anyway, we both were just. I think she went a separate time and saw it. I mean, I saw it with one of my friends. I don't remember. But she was like, yeah, I noticed how Chase, just his presence, it's amazing. He invited me to go see a comedy that he was in, but I was so dang busy when I was in New York. It was so busy. I'm gonna get this American flag right there. The time was busy. You just get so busy you barely could move. You were so busy. But he was doing his own little theater out there when I saw Chase. And I'm sure he got through all 3 years and did his thesis. It was tough, I mean, it was tough. We were competing with movie stars. It wasn't like we were, it wasn't like we had the backing that they had, We did want to be actors, so we acted. Don't know what they're doing now. I hope they start vlogs. I'm sure a lot of them will. I know Purna Jagannath. Purna was an Indian lady from India that was in my voice class and a few other classes. She's basically like a movie star now. It's crazy. She's got this huge internet movie database and all this television, all this film, all this craziness. And, you know, I mean, she's not Cooper, or I call Cowper, the old Bradley Cooper, iconic nine Academy Award nominations. Most actors don't even get like 2 or 3. You know, he's got 9. So we're waiting for Leonard Bernstein, you know. I guess we're all going to be cheering. You got to cheer because the thing is that you have to cheer on something like that because regardless if he's your competitor, he's still a peer. He's still considered a peer from that department. I'm just amazed I even got to go 1 year, you know. I'm just amazed. Even my friend Blake, you know, who was my roommate, he got to go for that, well, like going on the 2nd year, and then he dropped out and became a Hollywood stuntman, you know, ran off to Hollywood and became a stuntman. It's just, you know, I don't know. I don't want to get into the whole logistics of everything. Thank goodness for YouTube, you know. But I do miss being like a character on stage and the whole imagination thing. We hope that one day I'll make it back to the stage. I'll certainly vlog my experience and let you know, but not too much. You usually give up something when you get on stage. You sacrifice something and then you get on there. It's part of the process of it all. So it'd be like, I don't know, depending on the role, it would limit the vlog. But I do miss it dearly. I miss the performance before the people. Yeah, I had to get some Slice City pizza. You know, get a little bit of Marlon Brando's Godfather slice. He makes a pizza that you can't refuse. I had to get some of that to kind of calm down. How was your day? Were you okay?
No, it's okay. Pretty steady. Kind of wish they would have left us alone.
Yeah, back-to-back sandwich making.
Yeah, she did much of the dishes. I did like the sweeping.
True story.
Oh, we didn't have a mop. Oh.
Whenever I worked for Subway back in the day, it was the summer, I had a bicycle. I was reading one of the episodes, or one of the books of Stanislavski's. It was Creating a Role. I think all 3 of them. Creating a Role, Building a Character, and...
Have our lights on?
Creating a Role, Building a Character, and The Actor Prepares, yeah. I was reading all 3 of those at the time. I had this little bicycle. You know, he is getting kind of big. He's a little hefty, but it's a lot of muscle because I'm training in jiu-jitsu cat kung fu. So it's a combination between jiu-jitsu and kung fu, and he's taking it pretty serious, just in case, you know. But he's a hefty little kitty. He's got it all down, just to let you know. And he's also learning blocking, you know, stage left, stage right, upstage, downstage. Edmund Tuxedo Cassavetes is the full name of the cat. The Tuxedo Cat. Boy, man, he can bite. He's learning it all, the whole thing. We're going to start with Stanislavski, move into the method, sense memory, emotional recall, the whole 9 yards. Getting him remembering the days whenever he was, you know, nibbling from his mother's teat to all the way to when he met his first lover, kind of thing. We're going to go through the whole thing and talk about, you know, imaginary monologue for the cat and everything. I wanted to tell you was that we needed, I know that we got toilet paper, right?
Yeah.
Okay, what was that saying that we needed? Oh, you know, maybe mouthwash. Because we're running a little low. Oh, you're right, you remembered. Thank you, batteries.
Well, I don't have enough. I gotta catch my hair.
Huh?
I don't have enough for mouthwash right now.
I know that.
I gotta catch my
Well, we'll talk about budgeting.
I'm gonna make this work.
We'll figure it out.
We need a car.
I'm shopping here. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Yeah, I'm sorry. Shopping here. Look at this. What is this? I don't know. No, I didn't. What are you talking about? This is it's not a kid. It's a.
Why'd you say you were sorry? Who were you talking to?
No, this robot thing. It's a little robot thing that was jumping around right here. Hang on, let me grab this right here. Sorry about that. I was talking to this thing right here. Yeah, sorry about that. No, it's like a little robot that pulls the cart. It's really crazy. All right, now we're ready to go. I was talking to a robot.
Yeah, well, good for you.
Well, whatever it is. He does like them.